Does carbon dioxide, do carbon dioxide emissions cause changes in the temperature?
At some level, of course. The important thing is at what level. We're talking about fractions of a degree.
Yeah. You're saying that I read what you said, and you said if you double. Well, you said firstly that since the outgoing radiation is escaping to outer space more or less as usual, it can't be causing much in the way of warming down here. You said if you double atmospheric CO2 concentration, double it, which may happen this century, you said, highly industrialised and whatever, you're saying the warming would be about 0.5 to 0.8 of a degree, not the 2 to 4.5 degrees imagined by the UN.
Yeah, it would be certainly less than CO2 would do alone.
Right. And you're saying that you're confident you can directly measure the effect of greenhouse gases on temperatures?
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. We've had the satellites now for some 20-odd years, and they're measuring this.
But you're saying that the United Nations, with these Xbox 360 computer models, has merely guessed at the consequences, and you say the models are disastrously, your words, exaggerating the warming effect of greenhouse gases such as CO2.
Yeah, no, they are. Moreover, you know, the models themselves are missing lots of features of the climate, and the IPCC itself says that, you know, unless they got those right, it could never have made its attribution. And in addition to that, you know, they acknowledge that the reason for these problems, namely clouds, are very poorly handled in the models. So they cover themselves.
Yeah, but you've got the President of the United States describing warming as a dire crisis and that combating it will be a high priority in his administration. I mean, what are Americans meant to make of all this?
Well, most of them make of it, I would hope, what most Australians make of it. It's foolishness. I mean, he's probably never taken a science course in his life, and he has no idea what he's saying, but he's hoping to find a means of taxing people where they'll feel grateful for paying the taxes because they're told it'll save the world.
Amazing, isn't it? I mean, politicians are presenting these apocalyptic scenarios that have catapulted the politicians and the scenarios into the headlines, and you can understand the layperson worries about all of this and all of this hype, and all of these policies, if what you're saying is correct, are going to do us more harm than good.
Oh, yeah, and on top of that, as I'm sure has been pointed out in Australia, none of it will have any impact on climate. I mean, you know, Australia's contribution to this will probably, even if it does everything, will amount to, you know, 1,000th of a degree by 2001.
Right. So in other words, other factors play a much bigger role in temperature trends than man-made emissions.
So far, that's been the case.
And that would explain why there's been no global warming for a decade or more, even though carbon dioxide emissions have continued to increase.
Oh, sure. That automatically is telling you there's something at least as big going on that you haven't accounted for.
Quite. But given that, we now have a price tag on this of multi-trillion dollars. We're talking about carbon credits, a whole new industry, fortunes being made.
Yeah.
Eh?
I mean, there's a good reason why the major banking houses are lobbying for this. They want to be the brokers.
That's right. Can we...
I mean, this is going to be an invitation for corruption on a massive scale.
An invitation for corruption on a massive scale?
Oh, yeah.
How
I think Rudd does not understand, neither does Obama, that this issue is a poison pill. I mean, if Obama signs, I don't know what the case would be with Rudd. He knows it will never get ratified in the Senate, and so he'll be stuck having signed on to global governance and enforcement and wealth redistribution. None of these are very popular in the States.
And common sense would tell you, how can you predict the future of climate, temperatures, based on one variable, CO2?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
But I mean,
here's the complex system, and you're saying it's a simple-minded system. It depends on one number.
Yeah. But yet right through all of this, those who advocate a contrary position have been derided and treated as dinosaurs. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of scientists who've joined you in dissenting from this sort of quote-unquote orthodoxy. Oh,
yeah. I mean, how shall I put it? When the case is as weak as it is for global warming, you have to use ad hominem attacks because, the science just isn't there. They're hoping that the public is sufficiently ignorant of science that if they can cite authorities, nobody will bother to try and figure out what's going on.
What should we do about governments, I'm talking about today, that have got us into this mess and are about to traipse off to Copenhagen?
Well, to quote Nancy Reagan on drugs, just say no.
Just say no. But it's going to cost us the earth. We're trying to say no. That's why I'm talking to you.
Well, how shall I put it? I'm not a pessimist by nature. It seems to me that if something like this is passed, it's not sustainable and it won't be sustained.
But you've got a President of the United States and a Prime Minister of Australia buying all this rubbish. I mean...
Yeah, I know. They want it. They want it. They see it as, some magic thing that'll make it easy. I mean, look, if you want to control society, here you have a product of breathing. What better device could you have for controlling society? But as long as you still have democracies, eventually these people will lose because of this.
We hope so. It's great to talk to you, and I thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
Professor Robert Lindzen.